Unleash your creative universe and dive into 3D sculpting, immersive painting, learn to draw, quickly bring your ideas into physical space in mixed reality, synthesize your own music, or even create immersive animated spatial recordings in real time to share with the world. The Quest 3 is not just for gaming. It can be used as an incredible creative tool for those of us who want to create something out of nothing. Welcome to GameList Plus. I'm Josh, and these are 10 must-try MetaQuest 3 creative experiences. I've been planning this video and testing out all kinds of different apps for the last couple of years. I've tried each and every one of these, amongst countless others, to bring you the best of the best for this list. Stay tuned to the very end to see some bonus apps that I also think are worth your time. If this video helps you finally decide to dive into VR to boost your creative side, you can click the links in the description below to get your Quest 3 or any of the apps that I talk about. Doing so will support GameList Plus directly at no additional cost to you. So that being said, let's get started. At number 10, Graffism. Graffism is a VR graffiti simulation where you can immerse yourself in multiple locations and spray paint on just about everything. You can use spray cans, markers, and even a fire extinguisher to create across a bunch of richly detailed urban locations. Or you could visit the paint shop to decorate individual objects in your own way. There's a really cool drone camera feature where you can fly over your artwork to have some really cool videos and wider shots of what you've created. As of the making of this video, it is still technically an early access app, but the richness and realism of the spray paint mechanics and the options of where you can paint make it an excellent way to express yourself without breaking the law. Before we go any further, please hit that like button, it really does help a lot, and hit subscribe if you want to see all my upcoming videos. It's really cool to be able to just switch it up and go to all kinds of different colors and reflective and metallic paints and go to town and do whatever you want. I am no graffiti artist myself by any stretch, but I really thoroughly enjoyed just jumping in and trying this out. It made me actually look up videos about graffiti culture and ways that you can do lettering and shadowing, etc. Doing the thumbnails for my own videos, I have some kind of a concept of the way lettering works and how perspective can help and all that. So it's really interesting to see how it's actually very similar concepts that are used within graffiti space where you have perspective and all that. Having a legitimate way to learn to paint with spray cans like this makes it possible for people to test out their skills in VR and then try it in real life. I mean, you could easily spend $60 to $100 to buy 8 cans of good quality, like multiple colors of spray paint to do a project in real life. Whereas with this, you could just buy the app once and you could paint to your heart's content. As this app rolls towards its full release, there are going to be new spots that you can paint at, new tools like a paint roller, stickers, a training mode, and even a multiplayer mode. With all that said, I do want to mention King Spray Graffiti, which is another app that's been out for quite a long time. It's definitely nothing to sneeze at, it's still really good. And honestly, I tried both just for the sake of this video, and Graffism beats King Spray Graffiti in pretty much every way. At number 9, Gravity Sketch. Gravity Sketch is a very well-established and widely used creative tool that is completely free that lets you create the way you think in 3D. This app allows you to create and share your designs immersively, and you can use gestures to create detailed 3D sketches and surfaces in free space. The functionality is super smooth and you can work at any scale in full immersive virtual reality or mixed reality. You could apply textures and materials and even use posable mannequins to understand the creations in a better context. You can present your designs remotely with collaborators who can join you from a computer screen and even export your images in all kinds of file types to be used in tools like Blender. Gravity Sketch can be used purely for fun, like I used it, or it can be used as a serious creative tool in the real world. The Gravity Sketch platform is not just on the Quest 3. It's on other VR headsets, and it's been widely adopted by professionals across various fields like transportation, industrial design, product design, apparel, and footwear, or allowing geometry teachers to explain complex spatial concepts like calculating the inside of a pyramid. One of the best things about it is that it really is collaborative. So you can go into the same virtual space and actually flesh out a design together using Gravity Sketch. All around, it's one of the most impressive things that's available in VR, and it's free. So if you have a Quest 3 and you have a good idea of something that you want to create and share, this is a great way to do it. Next, at number 8, Patchworld. Patchworld is a deeply established multiplayer music-making VR experience. You know, for many years, I had an awesome musical neighbor, and we would often have little backyard parties where he would invite a bunch of other musician friends over, and the night would end up with these extended jam sessions. People were playing various instruments and bringing their own drums and just jamming out. Me not being a thoroughly experienced musician myself, I would even still just jump on the piano or some drums and just have an amazing time socially creating together. Patchworld is the first virtual reality experience that I've had that manages to deliver that kind of vibe. It allows you to create musical compositions and synthesize great music in immersive creative spaces with other people. It blends music, visual art, and interactive design where you can create, share, and remix with the community. It's for musicians, visual artists, performers, educators, and all kinds of creative explorers. You can join in on live weekly events and even build complex worlds without doing any actual programming. But really seriously, the best part for me is how you can just collaborate live with other creators in the multiplayer modes using unlimited instruments, effects, visuals, and other features. The hand tracking feels really natural in VR, which adds to the immersion in a big way. And you can compose and perform with loopers, sequencers, and synthesizers. You can also build immersive audiovisual installations, experiences, and use avatars and motion capture for storytelling like you're a puppeteer. You can teach people using musical shared worlds or just experiment with logic and spatial computing. It's really about that creative freedom and jamming out, just like full-on creative collaborative improv. Patchworld is one of those things that I really just had no idea what it was for a really long time. I would see it in the App Store and I'd just be like, it's a music creation app of some kind. And I didn't know how much of a vast world of creative things it really offers. I didn't have a chance to really dive deeply into it like a lot of the people that are on there have. But it is an awesome creative tool that gives you the opportunity to have jam sessions with people in a virtual space that would take a lot of time, energy, and money to pull together in real life. So if you enjoy a live jam session, I highly recommend Patchworld. Next on the list, at number 7, Gesture VR. Gesture VR is a figure drawing virtual studio. Using this app was really funny for me because I used to model for a big fashion school in downtown LA quite a few years ago. I would go and sit in various poses while I was surrounded by 15 or 20 fashion students who would draw these gesture-based long stroke drawings of me. So it was funny being on the other side in virtual reality, trying with my total lack of skill to even come close to some of the drawings that those people were able to pull off of me back then. This app gives you a solid chunk of 200 lifelike models where you can customize the lighting and really just improve your actual real-life art skills. You can draw in mixed reality using the pass-through to blend virtual models with your physical drawing space, and then draw with a real pen and paper if you like. You can sketch in 2D or 3D with pressure-sensitive strokes for dynamic thickness and shading, and there are various modes like freeform mode to let you select between human figures, skeletons, animals, statues, and anatomy guides, all with customizable settings. There's a guided mode where you can engage in hour-long drawing sessions with a single model, or open studio mode where you have a blank canvas for freehand drawing. And much like those classrooms that I would sit in, you can join up with 3 artists for a communal drawing session. This app really is for serious artists. You can even use Logitech's MX Stylus as a controller with your Quest 3 in this app. And I do want to mention that by default, there is a censored setting switched on for all the figures in this app, but it is most definitely not for kids, as most of the models are nude or mostly nude. So this is figure drawing in every way, shape, and form. I'm not a gesture drawing artist at all, so even getting the slightest semblance of the right shape was very difficult for me, especially looking back at some of the art and the drawings that these students would pull off in just a matter of 30 or 40 minutes. I was always really impressed with the work that they did. This app really is another great way that artists can expand their skills and become better at what they do, utilizing the creative functionality of the Quest 3. Next, at number 6, Flipside XR. Flipside XR lets you create animation in VR. When I was creating this video, I was going from app to app and trying out so many different drawing and sculpting apps and all these different experimental things. And one of the things that I just couldn't understand is why there weren't any dedicated animation apps. I had honestly all but given up, and I was just really wishing that I would find one to have on the list because animation is such an important artistic form, I stumbled across Flipside XR. And Flipside has been around for quite a long time, and it's a studio app where you can build animated content in real time using virtual production tools like sets, props, cameras, etc. And when I first jumped into it, I was given the rundown by this little avatar that explains how it works, and it immediately has you do this little dance scene with you as an avatar. I was pretty amazed at how well it mimics your movement and places you right there on a 3D set. I'm sat here in my real life studio where I make my YouTube videos and content. Flipside gives you the opportunity to do everything that I'm doing right here. There's teleprompters and cameras and lights, everything you could possibly need. It's crazy. You can do an entire episode just like I'm doing right here and do it all in VR. Flipside themselves describe it as a metaverse social media platform for next-gen creators and their fans. Without even creating content yourself, you can log on there and just watch people's spatial content where you can subscribe, share, and even remix and put yourself into other people's creations. You can record full 3D spatial recordings, including motion capture, voice, props, and even music. You can create multi-layered scenes where you act out one character, then you play that character back and act out another character opposite them. It's like a fully operational puppet theater that you can place yourself into in any way you want. I've barely scratched the surface of this myself, but I went to film school and I'm working on a big project right now. I'm literally going to be using this to plot and plan specific camera angles and setups myself for my future projects. There are much more complicated tools and ways to do this kind of pre-planning if you're going to shoot stuff in real life, but the simplicity of this program in and of itself makes it such an appealing tool for someone who wants to get some kind of preconceived idea or storyboard of the action they plan to shoot. You can live stream yourself with someone else in charge of directing every bit of the scene, cutting from different camera angle to different camera angle like they're in the main control room. It's just like producing TV, but on a very small scale in VR. You can even use Flipside's creator tools for Unity to import your own custom characters, props, and sets, which is absolutely wild. So you can use a different app within this list, which is the next one on the list, and mold and shape your own props and characters, then do some other work within Unity to make sure that they are fully ready, and then import them into this app to fully animate and create something with the creations you literally sculpted yourself. The creative options with Flipside XR are huge. It's a great creative app for everyone, from a kid who just wants to create a cool story and share it with the world, to a serious filmmaker who wants to construct meaningful scenes before setting foot on their real life set. At number 5, ShapeLab Lite. ShapeLab Lite is a virtual reality 3D sculpting app, which is a slightly more constrained version of the full ShapeLab. It has many, but not all, of the features the full PC VR version has. It's a polygon mesh-based modeling system, so you can create incredible 3D sculptures right in front of you, both in full VR and in mixed reality. Even though I loved sculpting little things out of clay when I was a kid, I never really pushed to advance my sculpting skills. ShapeLab offers a super intuitive interface that lets you really freely shape your ideas in 3D space with all kinds of great controls. You can do things from basic forms to really complex designs that can literally be used in applications, games, and virtual worlds. ShapeLab is a legitimate sculpting software that professionals do use. ShapeLab Lite allows you to use so many of the things that you would do on an actual PC, but right there on your Quest 3 headset. You can then take those base models you've created to full PC VR to refine and add a lot of the detail that you wouldn't be able to do right there on the headset. The full PC VR version of ShapeLab is explicitly advertised as complementary to tools like Blender. So after sculpting in VR, artists can export models and finalize the materials, rigging, and render it. You can literally create something completely from scratch that's just somewhere in your mind, and then use a 3D printer to print out your creation. My own experience using it was really cool. I mean, I just started playing around with it and trying to create something. As with many of these apps, I barely scratched the surface of it myself, but as you can see, I made a cool, floating, shiny, multifaceted object, and I was trying to just kind of mold it into a face, but I didn't have the time to really refine it. All around though, there are so many ways that you can use this. You can use it just for fun like I did, or you can really get into 3D sculpting and modeling and learn how to do it properly. It's such a cool app, and I absolutely cannot recommend it more to anyone who just wants to play around with it and have fun like I did, or serious sculptors who want to take their abilities in virtual 3D sculpting to another level. Next up at number 4, Vermillion. Vermillion is an incredible oil painting simulation app in VR. When I first dipped my paintbrush in this virtual paint and tried it for the very first time, I was actually really amazed at how great the end results can be if you really just focus and work at the painting. As I talked about earlier in this video, I'm not a big artist, but there are ways that you can paint within this app that allow even a person like myself to actually pull off something that looks really great. It has a paint by number option where you can go bit by bit to stay within the lines, which makes it like a glorified coloring book of sorts. This VR and mixed reality painting app really does replicate the look and feel of oil on wet canvas, painting in virtual reality. You can mix colors of these paints together and blend them as you paint and create. It comes with in-app paint-along tutorials that are basically step-by-step lessons to help you learn how to paint. It has the digital ability to undo, which is an incredible thing to be able to do as a painter because there's no undo button in real life on a canvas. One of the truly coolest features is that you can put an image of your own into the app and it will create a paint by numbers version of it for you, which you can then paint, export, and then print and put it on your wall. I did a painting of the cat that was the featured main image when I first got this as a paint by numbers image, and it turned out really well. You can even use Logitec's MX Stylus, which is a new control that you can actually use with your Quest 3. I feel like implementing this stylus turns the Quest 3 into a legitimate creative device on a whole other level. There are many stories to be found of people who tried their hand at painting for the very first time in Vermillion and ended up becoming real painters in real life with real paint and real canvas. And if that ends up being me, I will be quite thrilled. Next up at number 3, Figmin XR. Figmin XR is a spatial computing, mixed reality, creative sandbox app on the Quest 3. This is one of the coolest things that you can do on the Quest 3, bar none. The fact that the Quest 3 has such great mixed reality and spatial computing possibilities makes this truly stand out and beat so many of the other creative apps on this list. You can sketch and draw in 3D space, add 3D models and animated GIFs and videos to your projects, bring your creations to life with real-world physics, animate objects by moving them around, illuminate them with advanced lighting controls, create and transform 2D and 3D models with its voxel editor, and even use Logitech's MX Stylus yet again for precision editing. It's such a cool experience in mixed reality to put objects and things in your own space and have them bounce off your walls or have them react with each other. It's just such an interesting sandbox quality that allows you to create things with a lot of intent, or if you want, you could just go in and mess around with spatial computing as it exists right now. The potential for creativity and ideas is pretty much endless with this. You can also browse other people's creations and even download 3D models from Sketchfab and bring them into your mixed reality. I really do feel like Figmin XR is such a great step towards the future of spatial computing and mixed reality. It is a quintessential app if you own a Quest 3, and it is worth every penny. Next, at number 2, Pencil. Pencil is a mixed reality drawing and art education app that overlays digital drawing guidance onto real physical paper using the Quest 3's pass-through capabilities. The whole concept of this app is just phenomenal. It can teach you how to really draw in real life. All these other apps I've talked about in this video can be made better by having a fundamental understanding of how to draw, and Pencil gives you that baseline knowledge to really be able to start from a whole new perspective. It all starts with a pencil and paper. Throughout all my years as a kid, I had friends who were always so much better at drawing than I was. My friend Luke, for example, he just naturally was talented at drawing and making perspective seem real, and I was always amazed by him being able to do that. I realized that part of it is just being able to visualize and have that natural talent, but I also realized that a lot of people just get better because they keep doing it. I haven't continued to do it myself as much as I would like, but this is a great way to just make some new drawings with a lot of guidance where you're literally tracing what it shows you. I was given really early access to this game when it was just bare bones last year, and I was impressed back then. Now that it's in full release, it is truly impressive indeed. Pencil features over 80 lessons so far to help you learn drawing concepts at all levels, whether you're beginning or advanced as an artist. You can free draw and create your own still life scene using a library of high quality 3D models like I did here with this goofy skeleton guy, or you can import your own images, create murals, and do all kinds of other amazing trace along images. I literally bought a set of pencils and erasers just for this app, and I'm actually motivated to sit down and draw more. This is an amazing tool that I just wish I had as a kid. So I definitely highly recommend this in every aspect to any budding artist that you might have in your family. It's a great way to build the fundamental skills that you'll need to take the headset off and draw things that are right in front of you. I really hope to be able to make enough time to improve my drawing skills with pencil as a starting point. There are so many different ways that you could use this, whether you want to improve your drawing skills or if you just want to create a mural on the wall and call it a day. This is yet another amazing use of the Quest 3's pass-through technology that gives us a taste of what the future of spatial computing will offer in the creative space. And finally, coming in at number 1, OpenBrush. OpenBrush is an open source, community-driven evolution of Google's Tilt Brush that allows you to draw and paint in 3D space right there in your own living room. Now, I've been a VR enthusiast for a very long time, going all the way back to Google Cardboard, where I put my phone inside of it to watch just these baseline 3D generated experiences all the way back then. When I first saw Tilt Brush being demonstrated in a video before it came out on the Oculus Rift back in the day, I was completely floored by the concept of being able to draw in full 3D space around you. It just looked like the coolest, most futuristic thing I'd seen so far, and that's been a reality for a very long time now. OpenBrush has been around itself for quite a while now too, and the fact that on the Quest 3 you're able to draw and create right there in your own space in mixed reality takes it to an entirely other level. It's just simply one of the coolest things you can do. I'm not even talking about VR alone, it's just such a cool thing to try. I wish I could express to people who haven't tried it how cool it is to truly just paintbrush right in front of you. It really truly feels like magic, especially if you've never done it before. And when you're in your own space, creating these sparkling lines that just stay floating and you can walk around them and see them from different angles, it's mind-blowing. So many people seem to think that VR and the Quest 3 are all about roller coaster rides and experiences that will just make you sick and uncomfortable, and they don't realize that you can use it as a spatial computing device that allows you to be entirely creative within your own space. OpenBrush just hits the #1 spot on the creativity list for me because of the endless possibilities that it has as an open source, completely free application. It's so cool that you can create colored strokes that have volume and exist within your space. They exist both as paint and as geometry. There are a variety of effects like fire, water, smoke, and light beams. You can curve, mirror, recolor, constrain strokes, and even import images and objects. There's just such a vast array of possibility. Anything you can imagine, you can create with OpenBrush. OpenBrush is an absolute must for any owner of the Quest 3. Whether you are a creative or not, it is simply magical. So that's it for the top 10, but I do want to mention a couple of bonus creative apps that are definitely worth checking out. Overlay Story. In Overlay Story, you can place props and characters in space and pose them freely with full articulation of each of the little parts to create fully posed and set up scenes. It's completely free and generally kind of basic. If you're trying to put together an action sequence and have the drawings to create maybe a comic, you could use this to get the poses. In any case, it's a great storyboarding tool. Another one is Sculptor VR. Sculptor VR is a very cool voxel sculpting app that is a more basic version essentially of ShapeLab. It uses very similar tools. It uses voxel editing instead of the polygon-based modeling of ShapeLab, but still has a lot more basic ways to create 3D sculptures. It's basically like the kid-friendly version for young creatives. And finally, Godot. Godot is a free open source game engine that is really for actual programmers and people with much higher levels of skill creatively who want to make VR games. Used in conjunction with Godot on a computer, you can test out and use Godot's XR tools for 2D and 3D game development. You can build game logic environments and interactions inside it just like you can on a PC, and use the XR plugin to set up head tracking, controller tracking, and stereoscopic rendering, and a lot of things that I don't completely understand, but I just wanted to put it on here because those of you who are looking for serious creative tools, Godot is that. So there are your 10 must-try MetaQuest 3 creative experiences, plus some bonuses. I just think it's so incredible that we live in a time where all these creative tools are right at our fingertips with a VR headset that you can just pop onto your head. Even with just the Quest 3, it's an entry-level headset that can have all the spatial computing right there in your home. We're on the verge of a lot of AR and mixed reality becoming much more streamlined, and gaming and creativity taking on a whole lot of new forms. Mixed reality is going to become a much more streamlined and creative thing that we can use in every part of our lives, depending on if you want to or not. I also just think it's a really good tool to lead you to the point of taking them off and having learned from using that mixture. It's like training wheels for the future. And using the Quest 3 right now for creativity as that tool is indispensable. It's something that we just didn't have before. So I highly recommend, if you haven't tried any of these apps, or if you have a specific artistic leaning and any of these work for it, I suggest you get a Quest 3 for it. I'd love to hear what you think of all of these creative apps, and let me know which ones you feel I should have talked about that I missed. And what do you think about spatial computing in general? Do you think it's the wave of the future, or do you think it's just a fad that will eventually go away? I would love to hear about your experiences with these apps and all the things that you've created yourself, so let's talk about it in the comments below. And if you've made it all the way to this point in the video, please hit that like button. It really does help a lot. And subscribe for all my future content. This is officially the longest video I've ever made, and that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all my loyal subscribers. Love you guys. Go try something new. I will see you soon on GameList Plus.